Hey, Warrior Saints. Glad to have you beautiful people with us as we continue our conversation from yesterday.
Holy Week. So as we're talking through it, what is next? Like what is going on in all of this stuff and how does it point to us what we are supposed to be doing? How are we supposed to be looking at? What does it mean to follow God's commandments?
You know, I in the midst of as we conclude this now with uh, in the midst for us as Orthodox as Holy Week, like it's all pointing and culminating the entirety of Scripture as well, not just the Holy Week and its services, but Scripture is pointing all the way towards the cross of Jesus Christ. Like, it's a fascinating way. We've done a lot of work on this. I mean, maybe we can even link it up there if we choose to. But the Adam v Christ, like on our Linktree stuff, maybe
Yeah,
throw
yeah,
that in
yeah.
there. But Adam v Christ, I mean, it's that Scripture is presenting us a choice, and you can live your life like the man, which you can see leads to death. Now, conversely, and again, I forgive, I wasn't prepared to I just thought of it just now, but like to throw it in there. Read Matthew chapter 26. You'll see it at the Garden of Gethsemane, which is interesting. Jesus doesn't have his encounter on a field or a plain or on a mountain. His encounter is also in a garden, right? In Gethsemane. And in that story, in all the Gospels, I mean, the Synoptics, Jesus, we're going to quote Matthew, but I mean, he is struggling with what's coming, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he knows what's coming. The cross is in the horror of what the Romans were going to do to him, and the Jews were going to put him to death. And he says, like, I don't want to do it. Like, Father, let the cup pass, right? That's Matthew 26. I think it's verse 39. I may be off, but anyways, it's somewhere in there. And he says, let the cup pass. I don't want to do this. Please find anything else that you can find, right? Like, I mean, not to be too silly or magical about it, but you imagine that Jesus, as the Son of God, could, snap his fingers and send a gazillion angels and conquer all the Romans. You know what I mean? Like, he could have, I guess, figured another way to do, what he was doing. Instead, and it's interesting, in Greek, it uses the word ego, right? Nevertheless, right? Let this cup pass. I don't want to do this. Nevertheless, not as ego is the word in Greek, ego, not as I will, but as you will. And I think that it's a tale of two gardens, right? Eden was given one perspective, which leads to death. Gethsemane, and I think salvation's one right there, when he submitted his will to the will of the Father. It gives us a road, not like the first garden to death. It gives us a road through death. Because he now that's going to sound silly, but all he has left to do, Jesus, is to go to the cross, endure all that, and die, where he was willing to prove his submission to God's will, even at the cost of his life. And because of that, he was raised on the third day.
Yeah.
It leads not to death, but through death into an empty tomb, life eternal.
So when we talk about it, as we see during Holy Week, all of the hymnography, all of it,
Yeah.
and we talk about Christ and his redemption of fallen Adam, him being the one who undoes what Adam did. It's not about his crucifixion being some type of ransom payment or any of that kind of stuff, but it's really that he shows us the path to life that leads through the cross, but ultimately through the cross in the sense that it is about following God's will. So we need to get out there, learn God's commandments, and follow what God's commandments are for us.
Dead on. If our reading is correct, and as we're searching for all of our Warrior Saint friends, that what's the meaning of the text? If we are correct, then the establishment of the first sin, which is the production, the birth of ego, which I was making that case earlier, if that's what it is, Christ is crushing that ego and to uphold ego leads to death. To submit ego to God's will, not yours or mine or anyone else's. That leads to life eternal. And that's the whole power of the gospel message, is what it's telling us, is that, and no one else could do it. Only this one character in Genesis 5, I believe, is Enoch. Enoch, it's a great story. We could talk about that for hours, another day. But like, Enoch's the only one who walked with God, and he was not. Everyone else is a mess, right? All of them get off path until you find Jesus.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that all the characters in the Old Testament are bad people, or in the New Testament, but they have bad moments and good moments, right? Like, I mean, Peter, denied Christ 3 times.
Right.
The church is built upon him. So like they both, David was really, the beloved, but then also he broke all 11 commandments with Bathsheba and Uriah. Like, so
they had to make new ones just for David.
No kidding. So only this Jesus is perfect,
right?
And his perfection comes in, submission to God's will, right?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think it's really very helpful to show us what's going on and help us start to read Scripture. I know we've spent 2 weeks now talking about kind of how to read Scripture in these different ways. It's fantastic.
I love it. I mean, it's my great love, and I appreciate you enduring it. And we had fun this week. And maybe next week we can even keep going. I mean, it gets now that we're done with Genesis 1, 2, 3, 4, tells the Adam and Cain and Abel stories and all that, Adam having Cain and Abel. And then, like I say, more importantly, Cain's story after his murder of his brother. I don't know, maybe we can keep going, or we'll figure something else out. Maybe we can talk about Noah, or I don't know. There's all kinds of good stuff. Yeah. Anyways, we love it. Love you. Glad you were with us. Look, if you're interested, we appreciate you being with us always. And we always appreciate if you would share and like and, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. If you want more deeper stuff, better stuff than visit warriorsaints.org. I don't know if it's up there, but warriorsaints.org. There it is. And we have a series out there, Understanding the Bible, where we teach this stuff to the best of our ability. Love you. We'll be back for, we won't be back for Orthros and Liturgy at 10 a.m. because it will be Pascha, Easter for us as Orthodox Christians. So it will be live streamed at crazy hours in the middle of the night. At any rate, love you. We'll be back next week as well. Have a great one. Be safe as always. Keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.